It could be said that Bill Gaines had comics in his blood. His father, Max, was a pioneer in the medium, creating the first comic book, Famous Funnies, in 1934. 4 years later, Gaines joined ranks with Superman publisher Harry Donenfeld and launched a new line, All-American Comics. Featuring such superheroes as the Green Lantern and Wonder Woman, the AA line was extremely popular, with sales soaring to over 8 million copies per month. Comic books made Max Gaines a fortune. In early 1945, he sold his share of All-American for $500,000. He created a new company, Educational Comics, or EC, which published such sedate titles as Picture Stories from the Bible. Not surprisingly, EC's sales languished near the bottom of the industry.
Educational comics were pretty much like educational everything. Nobody wanted to buy them. That's why slowly but surely educational comics morphed into entertaining comics.
Max Gaines changed his company's name and direction, but not its fortunes. Sales continued to lag as children ignored EC in droves. Bill Gaines also wanted nothing to do with his father's comic books. In fact, Bill wanted no part of the family business. Max Gaines had an explosive temper, and Bill often found himself the target of his father's wrath.
From all accounts, the relationship between Bill Gaines and his father was a very hard one and a little bit abusive on the edge. Max Gaines had built his comic book company out of nothing and was very impatient with artists and writers, and apparently with his son as well.
He considered Bill the world's biggest klutz. And Bill often tried to live down to that. Max constantly said to Bill, "You'll never amount to anything."
Bill did his best to stay out of his father's way. After a stint in the Army Air Corps, he enrolled at New York University to pursue his teaching credential. Then in 1947, tragedy struck. Max was killed in a boating accident near the family's summer home on Lake Placid. Prodded by his mother, Bill reluctantly took over the reins at EC.
Bill was not enthusiastic about the idea. His father had been failing. The business owed already about $100,000. Things weren't looking good when he came in. And Bill said, "How do you expect me to do this? My father didn't do it, and he was a pretty smart financial guy."
Gaines slowly learned the ropes and moved the comics more in line with his personal tastes. A turning point came in March 1948, when a 23-year-old artist named Al Feldstein knocked on the door at EC.
I went down to see Bill Gaines, and I showed him the stuff I've been doing, and he was very intrigued with them. My girls, they call them headlight comics, because I did kind of nubile girls with tight sweaters, you know, a la Lana Turner movies. And so he gave me a contract to do a teenage book called Going Steady with Peggy.
But before even one issue was published, the bottom fell out of the teenage craze. Feldstein agreed to tear up the contract and began working on EC's other titles, imitations of then-popular romance, western, and crime comics.
After a few years of doing this follow-the-leader thing, Feldstein and Gaines realized that this was not the way to go, and they realized that they had a common love of the old sort of lights-out, inner sanctum radio shows.
Ionized Yeast presents Lights Out, Everybody. Lights Out brings you stories of the supernatural and the supernormal, dramatizing the fantasies and the mysteries of the unknown.
One of the things that I was always fascinated with was the old radio horror shows from Arch Obler, like The Witch's Tale and Lights Out and Inner Sanctum. And I said, why don't we do kind of gothic horror and comics, scare the pants off the kids?
Eager to take the company in a new direction, Gaines agreed to test the waters of horror. Feldstein wrote two stories, The Crypt of Terror and The Vault of Horror, which ran in EC's crime comics. Sales improved overnight. Gaines immediately canceled EC's current line and launched what he called a new trend in magazines. In January 1950, The Crypt of Terror and The Vault of Horror hit the newsstands. Two other titles, The Haunt of Fear and Crime Suspense Stories, soon followed. After 3 issues, Gaines changed the title of The Crypt of Terror to Tales from the Crypt. It would become EC's biggest seller.